Hey, good afternoon from Area 51 Raceway. So I'm still experimenting with the Smart Race. And get that right, I keep calling it Race App, so it is Smart Race. It's geared toward Carrera Digital, and it does have an analog feature, which I'm using. The digital feature, like again, I haven't really dipped into it. Marty Ford has extensively played with it more than I have. I've been trying to mirror it to my television. Now I have a Hisense cheap TV. It's like $100. It does have a mirroring feature, but for some reason it doesn't like Apple products, so it won't mirror it. So I messaged Marty and he told me Apple TV is what he uses. But I know that Roku also will hook up to it because I have a Roku upstairs and it wants to mirror it to that, and that's for the grandkids when they come over. So I'll probably get a Roku one, which they're fairly cheap, to hook it up to this, so this like a way I could get the sound and everything on the television, because I can mirror this onto the Apple iMac and then plug a cable into it, but there's no sound going into it because just the way Apple products are. You need a how would you say, a referee that will allow it. So, but I've been messing with this, and I've been running my Ford P68 NSR car that I've tuned, and got the tires all down on it. And lap times on this is pretty good for this 40-foot track. I could get it under 4 seconds, I believe, was the best lap I did with it. And this is a really cool program because it does a lot to, store your car's, like I said, your car's inventory. Like you could, assign it, take a picture of it. This way, when you go to select it, you could pick your car and then pick your, your driver. So you could add quite a few drivers to it, and if you just, customly add to it. I'm doing the free lap, the free practice, which it doesn't record any time. How would you say, it records times, but it doesn't make a history of it. I believe you have to do it under the race. If you do a race, and it'll keep a history of it. And again, the reason why I'm doing another video on this, because it's learning a little bit more of it, and I think it's kind of nice because it's pretty self-compact, and I'll go into that more and we'll get closer and I'll kind of explain a little bit more. So here we are with the application that I'm using for this system. So this telephone right here, or telephone that isn't activated, it's an old phone of mine that I had, is the one that's the camera that's pointing to these two rails right here, which as soon as a car passes it, it will set it off because it's reading the car passing as it highlights green, and that's what gives you the lap counting. This is really nice to have, real portable. I got a small tripod here before I had a big honking kind of bracket. I didn't really want that. I prefer something small like this. And I have it connected to power because this phone, the battery won't last super long like it used to. Probably within 2 or 3 hours the batteries will drain. That tells you how old the phone is. So I just have power connected to it all the time just to give it juice, and I have it on low power mode. So in order to run this application, you would probably need an old phone or maybe a second tablet, because the thing is that you would need the Connect app on the one that's going to shoot the camera to read the sensors, and then you would need your main tablet to run the actual application, which gives you the lap times and all that and so forth, that records it, has it on here, and then you store your database on here too. So there are two separate applications. There's the Smart Race application and the Smart Race Connect. So I had questions on the first video I did whether it would hook up to a webcam or something like that, and I don't know if that's even possible because it would need to be a application type. I haven't tried it. I don't know. You'd have to email the Smart Race app designer if that's possible. I just haven't really dipped into it that much. There is a digital feature on this, which I heard is really cool, but I haven't gotten to that either because I just been running mainly analog, and I will go into that later myself to try it out. I've seen Marty Ford run the system, and pretty cool, but I didn't realize that it had an analog feature, which that's what really kind of raised my ear. I didn't want to use my TrackMate system down here because I'd rather use it upstairs for the new wood track that I'll be building in the spring, and I could change to the 4-lane sensor when I get it because I believe the brain system is still the same. You just change the bridge. But I could be wrong. I'll have to look into that more. But anyway, this is a different topic we're talking about. But what's really nice is that here's the pad that I have the program on. And now I made my fictitious racer right here named the Stig Alien Racer, ALF. ALF meaning from the TV show ALF, which is an acronym from Alien Lifeform. And then the Stig is from the Top Gear show, which is a homage to those guys. You know, the Stig with the white outfit and the helmet. He was always the mystery driver. So I kind of gave it that name. So I have my driver here, and it tells you, you know, top times per lap, which I don't have yet because I've been doing a lot of just practicing instead of actual racing. And again, the cars, you know, you add your cars like I have done here. And I've added a lot of cars lately, so I've added my scratch builds too, as you can see. And right here, you know, it was a Chevy Monza analog. It says Carrera, but it isn't. I don't know why I should have edited that, which I probably didn't. So you could edit it. So if you didn't do a small thing you need to do, so this would be self-built. Then you hit save, and now it's under self-built. But this is really cool to store all your cars in. And then drivers, I have my grandsons here, Aiden and Logan, and then I have myself as the Stig. I'll probably add myself, you know, as George, but later on. When you do start this, I'm going to do free practice, which is a new free practice. And then what you do is you would click here, and then you pick your racer, and then in this case, I'm going to pick the Ford 68, and you hit save. So that'll be the car that'll be registering when you race. And again, this is just a free lap practice thing. And what you do is you hit start, and it'll sound off with 3. And I have it connected to iMac. That's where the sound's coming from. And what you do is just run it around the track, and this is going to pass that sensor, and it'll record the time, which I think it should, but I don't know if it did. Here. It doesn't have it has unassigned to see. I didn't assign the driver. So what I could do is see, and it's saying, so I could say reset free practice, confirm. So if I made a mistake, I could put right here, which maybe I didn't pick the drivers, what I didn't do. So I didn't highlight it, and I'll pick this again. I'll hit save. And it should work now. So there we are, the Stig Alien Racer. So I will hit start again. So you make a mistake, you always just go back and redo it. And here we go. And then we'll go around the track. I know you can't really see the car go around the track too much. And I'll record it. Make the sound that it's assigned to. And then the fastest lap is 5.7 is what it's registering. And right here in this widget, so you could add widgets to display different things, and that's displaying my lap times there, and it's got the Stig Alpha on the side there. And you can make this, I believe, bigger if you want it to. So if you go configure right here and say you want the size to be, say 75%, and hit save, and it'll make it bigger. 100% will go across, I believe. So again, you could adjust these different widgets in here and make them smaller or bigger. Oops, hit cancel there. Configure or delete it if you wanted to. If you didn't want it 100, let me hit save. Save, and there you go, goes across. So as far as moving them, I've tried moving them. It says how to move them, but I can't get them to move every time I try and do it, so I must be doing something wrong. As last time, as I talked about, trying to move them. And then it'll record it. And so that sound, you could change the sound on the laps. That, you know, when you make a lap, change that sound. That sounds more like a British racing car. So if I wanted to change that sound, and you could go here and go to open menu and go to cars. Say you don't like how that sounds, you want to make it more of a, you know, beefier sound. Right here under where it says sound, you have a selection. You could hear it too. Check it out. Ford GT 2019, that's why. So say I want to make it just a little bit more burlier. So maybe I'll say the Corvette. That sounds more like it would be the P68. I could be wrong, but then you save it, get out of this, and it should save it, and then go back to your race. Let's see. I think I could go back to it. Hold on a second. Let me go to. That's not what I wanted. And I'm trying to figure out how to go back to the race. And that's something I don't know how to do yet. And again, like you see, I'm not exactly sure what to do. And that's me hitting the, I think that's me hitting the sensor, I'm not sure. So how to get, well, actually I could click that off. There we go. So the green box, there you go. Then click it off and it'll continue to your race. So it should change the sound of it when you go by. And it changes the sound of the car. You know, and they have other things too. Not many. And it tells you fastest, best lap. It'll tell you when you keep doing the best lap. And then it'll count your laps. This is a 100 lap session, so it's not a race. It'll just make that noise as you pass the sensor. One thing you gotta remember, don't put your hand in front of here because it will set it off and it'll do it like a second and record it as a record, and that wouldn't be accurate because 40-foot track, if this could go around in a second, well, I don't know. That's pretty damn fast. Other things that are nice is that you could do so much with this, even in analog mode. So if you, obviously the track you select, and I have my track on here, and it should be, and I didn't do that, so I'll change it to Area 51 Raceway track. And I have it already in there as a track for how many feet it is. So if I go to the menu and I go to tracks, and Area 51 is on here. So I got it at, it's a 40-foot track. If you around, I figure about 40 foot. And they do it in centimeters, so that's 1,219 centimeters. And I got that from Google, just, you know, figuring that out. And that's how you add your tracks, and you could add photos and then background photos. And so, again, you know, you could just, you should calculate it a little differently because I don't know what that default track was. And 4.1, so, and you could just gauge your cars after tuning them with this program, which is nice. And this is the cool thing about it. That's why I like it, because I wanted something that I could just simply set up. Not saying that TrackMate isn't, but I didn't want to get another TrackMate system, so this was kind of an alternative. And plus, the thing why I got it also is that I have a digital track, so this adds to it, so it's more of a, I'd say, win-win for me. So if I want to mess with the digital section that's got more features and stuff than just plain analog, I could do that. But again, a great program. I recommend it if you guys, you know, have Carrera digital, and even an analog track, it seems to work pretty good. But I mean, that's up to you. I'm sure other programs are out there, but this is my take on it. I like it, and I like that the fact that, you know, I have this here and I could do my stuff. And then I got a smaller tripod, of course, because I didn't want that big hanging thing over it. So, but that's it from Area 51 Raceway. I just want to let you guys see all this in action more. And if you have any questions, I'll try and answer as best I can. I know Marty Ford's more of an expert than I am. So if you, you know, check out Marty Ford's channel tonight, and maybe you ask him a couple questions about that, he will answer because he's always really good at picking that up. So he's usually on at 8 o'clock. So join his channel on Two Lines Raceway. So, you know, he's there and everything. And you could ask him questions. So, again, thanks. Take care and have fun racing.